Well, it broke viewership records in the United States and invited great interest from all corners of the globe. Now, today we're talking about the first U.S. presidential debate that took place this past Monday evening. That's as Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton went head-to-head on live television. Now, we've spoken before about voter confusion, deciding to vote against a candidate rather than for, and several swing states that are looking impossible to call. With us, we have in studio Melanie Malherbe from BrandsEye to talk us through how social media responded and what the data is telling us about this closely contested election. Melanie, good to have you. Give us a quick run through as to how social media reacted over the last week.
Well, it's definitely been in elections of the least liked candidate. Sentiment is definitely very volatile. People seem to be shifting their allegiance as such. But also a lot of people are sitting undecided. They don't know what they're going to do yet. They realize they have to vote, but they don't necessarily want to vote for either. So it's definitely a volatile situation in social media. Mm-hmm. So we looked at the national picture from a sentiment point of view.
There we have it, yep.
And so Hillary had it in the beginning, and then she kind of went off the scene with her illness, and you know, Trump started rallying, and his positive sentiment kind of grew. But the debates definitely helped Hillary Clinton to come to the positive side again, and people are backing her following the debate. It's been said that if Trump wins Ohio, Florida, North Carolina and Pennsylvania, that he would take the whole election. So we decided to look at some of those states. What you see there is Florida, a very interesting one. The traditional polls actually has Trump taking it, where social media actually has Hillary taking it. Reasoning behind that, they think, is that he's got an older contingent following him and being in support of him, and they're not on social media. And another thing to kind of take into account there is the black votership, who are refusing to vote for Trump, but also not for Hillary. Trump is being seen as a racist, and Hillary is being seen as a killer for some reason.
A killer?
Yeah, they refer
Where did
to
they
her
get that from?
I have no idea. but they refer to her in those terms.
Yeah.
So,
Melanie, what about, while this debate was on, I mean, could you track what people were saying while the debate was on, like who, not who won it, but who is winning it while it's happening?
Oh, it's such a short period of time, so it definitely was up and down, and it's the two candidates kind of attacked each other personally. So Trump would make a good statement against Hillary, and then they would go his way. But very difficult to track in such a short period of time. We're back to the states, and North Carolina polls have Trump taking it, and so does social media.
This is getting frightening.
It is definitely getting frightening. Then if you look at Pennsylvania, it actually almost gets more frightening. Hillary Clinton has it at the moment, but there's a big contingent of white male working class that doesn't have degrees, and that's pretty much Trump's demographic. And they didn't vote for Obama with his election, specifically, you know, because of the you know, racial issue and all that, which Hillary Clinton has to take note of now. They might come and vote for Trump. So everyone's saying that if he takes Ohio, North Carolina and Florida, that is going to come down to Pennsylvania.
Looking at the analysis following Monday evening, though, everyone was pointing to Clinton as perhaps clinching that first debate as the winner there.
Yes, definitely so. Hillary Clinton came out as the winner, but we've seen the data go everywhere. So we're definitely not banking that this will be the final result.
Also, you could say that she won the debate based on debate-type criteria. That doesn't mean people will vote necessarily according to the debate.
Yeah, and as we've all said, some people might just not vote because they just don't want to vote for her, but they don't also want to vote for Trump. So we definitely don't know which way it's going to go. It's not going to be as easy to call this time.
It's fascinating. It's about a month to go till the actual election. Well, while Melanie is here, we're going to look at the trend of the week for her to discuss. Well, we're back on Fees Must Fall. So where are we with that? It's not fees must fall anymore. It's like the universities must fall. They're being burnt down. Yeah,
well, conversation has also fallen with the Fees Must Fall hashtag specifically. I think reality has set in. The cause of Fees Must Fall is taking a back seat to the burning down of universities, and people realizing that it's exam season. They're not going to get their degrees. They're going to have to hang on for another 6 months. And the only people affected the worst are the poorest of the poor. So the cause Fees Must Fall is kind of taking definitely a backseat just to violence and, you know, burning down, and it's almost turning negative where you would want it to be something different.
On that, Melanie, though, a lot of the focus has been on Wits, UCT, and the extreme violence that we've seen in the UKZN. But what about some of the smaller universities, and in particular Rhodes? Because I think there was an article that was, not an article, but rather a letter to students which was published saying, look, it's all tertiary institutions that need to be participating in this particular event. Are there
Well, they've certainly had some violence at Rhodes as well.
Yeah, I've heard stories of people having to sneak into labs and libraries at night to be able to actually just get through their work. I think it's the big ones obviously come out more. The feeling is pretty much the same across all of them. Like I said, people are getting to the reality of it now.
Now, this big vote that Wits had, and they said the result would be out this afternoon. I haven't seen a result. SMSing to all staff and students, do you want to go back to work? Now, has there been commentary on the vote?
I'm going to be lying to you if I give you an answer to that. I haven't looked at that. But
interesting to see.
Yeah, I definitely.
Because some of the fees must fall people are saying this is illegitimate. I'm not clear why, but...
no, like I said, I'll definitely be lying to you if I give you a response to that. But it should definitely have a social impact.
Yep.
From what we see very briefly, it seems as though more than 2/3 of students have actually voted to continue with classes. So it'll be interesting to see how that's being taken into account.
2/3 sounds a bit low.
It does.
I would have thought it would have been higher with...
Yeah, and the conversation is driven by so few people, actually. So, like you say, it's too low. There's few are going to drive it.
Well, that's Melanie Malherbe. We could talk all night about these issues, the social media, and the way that we're using it now to analyse trends and what's happening in society, including politics. After the break, we take a look at the SA market close.